Returning home from college for the summer was supposed to be comforting, but it didn't turn out that way. I felt lost, realizing that my close-knit group of friends had scattered. We all went our separate ways, some more violently than others, just like my dad had warned. Loneliness gnawed at me until one evening, an unexpected message arrived. "Want to go smoke some joints and drink Cayman Jacks with me?" Kay texted. She had become an unexpected confidant, despite our infrequent interactions. "Absolutely. I know the perfect spot," I replied eagerly. Kay and I shared a unique bond. Our friendship started when she revealed some harsh truths about my ex. Since then, we had an unspoken agreement to support each other, a purely platonic friendship built on mutual trust. That night, around midnight, Kay drove to my place. We took a short drive to the trailhead, our excitement palpable as we armed ourselves with only our phone flashlights. The trail began alongside a vast fog-covered field, its wet grass glistening eerily under the moonlight, contrasting sharply with the dark, menacing forest on our right. As we ventured further, paranoia began to creep in even before we lit our first joint. I suddenly remembered the ruins of an old 1800s cabin buried within the forest, a detail I had conveniently forgotten to mention until we were already on the trail. "There's an abandoned cabin up ahead," I said, my voice barely audible. "Shut up, really?" Kay responded, her unease evident. The cabin appeared suddenly, as if pulled from the shadowy depths of a forgotten past. Its skeletal remains barely held together, with crumbling stone walls and fragments of what seemed like a floor. The air was thick with a musty scent, a testament to the ravages of time. A dried stream bed snaked through the site, once a lifeline but now an empty reminder of bygone days. Broken beams jutted out at odd angles, and patches of moss clung to the decaying wood, resembling a patchwork quilt of decay. "What do you think happened here?" Kay asked, her voice tinged with both curiosity and trepidation. "How would I know?" I replied, running my hand along the cool, rough stones. "This is definitely pretty cool, though. Do you think it's haunted?" Kay asked with a nervous chuckle, trying to make light of the eerie atmosphere. "I don't know about haunted," I said, peering into the shadows cast by the ruins, "but there's definitely something unsettling about it." But it is literally 1 in the morning. We stood there for a moment, absorbing the eerie silence that wrapped around us. It was as if the forest itself held its breath, waiting for us to move on. After soaking in the haunting aura of the cabin, we continued up a steep incline into the heart of the forest. My flashlight caught a giant spider web, glistening with dew, and an enormous spider perched menacingly in the center. The sight was jarring, and we both screamed and scrambled to find a way around it. Emerging into a clearing, we reached the final stretch to the hilltop. Trying to lighten the mood, I joked, "Why are we doing this?" "We haven't even smoked yet," eliciting a reluctant laugh from Kay. Atop the hill, we set up our chairs and lit our joints. The initial relief quickly transformed into heightened paranoia as the weed took effect. The chirping birds behind us shifted from soothing to sinister, their calls hollow and dissonant. It was as though some unseen force had twisted the natural world into a parody of itself. "I don't feel right," I confided to Kay, my voice trembling slightly. She nodded, her eyes wide with shared anxiety. "Do you think it's just the weed? Or is there something really wrong here?" "I don't know," I whispered. "But I can't shake the feeling that we're not alone." It was then that I experienced the most surreal and terrifying moment of my life. As a child, I had a recurring nightmare where I sat alone in a car, staring into a dark, foreboding field. 2 glowing eyes would silently watch me from the shadows, radiating malevolent intent. Now, back in reality, those very eyes appeared below us in the prairie, about 150 feet away. They were faint but unmistakable, sparking a wave of primal fear deep within me. I cannot fully convey the terror of seeing a childhood nightmare come to life. Urgently, I told Kay we needed to leave, the sight of the eyes triggering an instinctual flight response. She hadn't seen them, and I wasn't about to explain, fearing it would only heighten our panic. We made a hurried descent down the trail, our nerves further frayed by the sudden barking of dogs in the distance. Once inside Kay's car, we drove to a nearby cemetery to finish smoking. I remained silent about the eyes, knowing it would be too bizarre for anyone to comprehend. To this day, I haven't returned to that hill. Whatever I saw that night, real or imagined, instilled a fear that still lingers. This story might seem far-fetched, but every word of it is true. I even have photos from that night. Has anyone else experienced something like this? If my storytelling isn't the best, please forgive me. This is my first attempt at writing such an experience, and I'm not known for having a great memory. Feel free to ask for any clarifications.